Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the 7th installation of the Center for Disaster Healing Resources Arts and Recovery Team Reporter's Notebook. I'm going to first introduce our community, provide the context for the expressive arts, and then introduce our esteemed guest. The Disastershock Center for Healing Resources is an international humanitarian relief organization dedicated to providing psychological first aid resources to children and families affected by disaster-related stress. We are an interdisciplinary team. Our materials have been translated to over 20 languages. The Center for Disaster Healing Resources is a special interest group by the Oxford Symposium School-Based Family Counseling Center, which is sponsored by the Institute for School-Based Family Counseling. I'm Dr. Reggie Matthew. I'm an expressive arts advocate and educator, and I am also a member of the Center for Disaster Healing Resources Arts and Recovery Team. The Arts and Recovery Team Reporter's Notebook is an innovative series interviewing international expressive arts advocates on the power of the arts in healing and integrating the mind, body, and spirit in trauma recovery, and the restorative impact of community-based art practices. Anin, before I begin, I'd like to provide our audience the context for the expressive arts. The expressive arts is the practice of cultivating personal artistry, an inner resource through expressive approaches, dance, music, drama, and art, a tool for intermodal processing, for problem-solving, self-expansion, and personal growth. What we want the audience to know that inner artistry is not only for performance. Inner artistry is a daily sensibility we can bring to life. Intermodal processing, the capacity to move between imagery, story, movement, music, is a whole brain approach offering us to engage with all parts of ourselves, taking a multi-sensory look which can support our inner journey in metabolizing the complexity of our lives, reimagining new possibilities, and open pathways and doorways to hope. I am honored to welcome and introduce our esteemed guest today, Anin Utigaard, a licensed and marriage family therapist and registered expressive arts therapist. She works with individuals and groups of all ages and cultures. She was the founding ECC for the International Expressive Arts Therapy Association, which was formed in 1993, and was one of the organizers for its first conference in San Francisco in 1994. She is currently serving on the IEATA board as an interim ECC and a regional coordinator for the Northwest region of the United States. Anin also continues to be on the advisory council for IEATA with other respected IEATA founders. While completing her master's in clinical psychology at JFK University in California, Anin also receiving her training in the expressive arts with Natalie Rogers Person-Centered Expressive Arts Therapy Institute. She has then become a faculty member for the Natalie Rogers program and taught with her and other PCETI faculty for over 10 years. Anin continues to offer person-centered approach in her work with clients and students. She is an adjunct faculty with the Northwest Creative Expressive Arts Institute in Seattle, was an adjunct faculty for JFK University until moving to Oregon in 2017. She continues as one of our faculty for the Master Class in Expressive Arts Therapy program offered in Hong Kong. She has taught, supervised, and presented her work nationally and internationally since 1992, offering programs in Hong Kong, Japan, Taiwan, Canada, and Brazil. Anin studied fine arts at the University of Idaho, has worked as a costume designer, acted in theatrical productions, is a songwriter. She has performed professionally with folk bands, rock and roll groups, at local coffee houses while in college. From her own personal growth experiences using creativity, she deeply understands the power of the arts and now combines expressive arts, creativity with psychology in her practice. She understands on a deep level the power of the arts and the transformative power that can heal our world. Welcome, Anin. It is such an honor to have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Reggie. And it is truly an honor to be here as part of your amazing program. I feel very honored to be here today. Yeah.
To begin, Anin, IEATA is currently celebrating 33 years with divisions in over 49 countries.
Mm-hmm.
IETA has held 37 conferences and has reported over 54% growth over the past 3 years. If you can imagine our audience members for a moment, members who may have never considered the arts as more than talent or entertainment, what would you want them to know about the expressive arts?
Mm. First of all, I would want them to know that every person watching this is capable of expressing on a very deep level how they're feeling, their sense of being, their sense of purpose through the arts. You don't have to be an artist. You don't have to be a professional singer. You don't have to be a professional musician. You can use those because they are the most ancient language that's accessible to all of us, every single one of us. And the expressive arts is a way of like just grabbing for those pieces that we're most drawn to, whether it's drumming or moving or drama, playing a role of someone we want to be. Yeah, it's just an amazing, magical way available to all of us, to push through difficulties, to connect with each other, to transform.
What's unique about the expressive arts and what characterizes our work is that AIDA and expressive arts emphasizes intermodality, the
Hmm.
idea of following a creative thread through one or more art forms. Can you explain this concept and how does this distinguish from other invaluable creative arts therapies? For example, dance movement therapy or music therapy. How would you distinguish the expressive arts conceptualization?
Mm, mm. Yeah, and first of all, I do want to say that art therapy, music therapy, drama therapy, movement therapy, those are all equally important. This is just another way that we have combined the arts. Um, and practitioners have learned how to combine that. So basically what it is that when, let's say someone's coming in dealing with grief, yeah, it is important to hear their words and understand that, but we can also invite them. It's another way to move that pain that they're feeling in their body onto paper, for instance. So inviting them to, draw that feeling. And again, it doesn't have to be beautiful. It's for them, right? And it's for us as therapists or, consultants, coaches to understand them. So to draw that piece of art that's related to how they're feeling inwardly, and then exploring that with them. What do you see? What comes up for you? Does it have a sound? Does it, when you look at it, is there a movement that comes to mind? Do you want a dialogue with it? Why did you show up today? It gives you another layer of information, uh, to work through that grief or whatever issues are coming up. So it's like Natalie used to say, it's like layers of an onion, Each level provides additional insight and information.
So, what I'm hearing is it sounds like the expressive arts intermodal approach allows for a multi-sensory, kaleidoscopic, textured telling of a personal challenge. So, it sounds like I would imagine there's no endpoint in how someone can sort of, like you said, weave out the threads of a particular experience. And I would imagine as you move from one modality to another, the telling of the story changes. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, it changes, and sometimes there's more depth with each layer, if you will. Um, and the reason having been a singer, songwriter, mover, or dancer, actress, because I've done them all, I didn't want to just land in one modality. And so we have to honor that there are clients that come in, they might be more attracted to drumming or they might be more attracted to art. But that's a starting point. And so to move from that, say, okay, let's look at this, so we'll explore it. And then, yeah, for them to get, then let's say they do a movement, and sometimes I'll mirror that back so they can see it. They get, ah, wow, okay, I hadn't thought about that. And then just, write or dialogue, or, yeah, there's more information at each level.
The one term I've heard with expressive arts educators and theorists saying is that each form allows for a transmutation of the experience. It's not just a transformation. The quality and the texture of the pain changes in some way as it's seen in a song or a lyric or in a movement. Have you observed that in your clinical work?
Yes, I have. I have. It's again going back to the that ancient, language that we have. With each layer, it's like additional insight, and sometimes I actually see closure. They look at that last piece and they'll go, ah, uh-huh. Like it makes sense. With my own art, when I've done art, and I'm like, what does this mean? And I find these discoveries that my body is telling me that I would have totally missed if I had just been talking about it. My drawing actually told me I had thyroid cancer a week before I was diagnosed, because my mouth was like trying to get something out, and what is this? I don't. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of insight comes out of the process for the clients, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because the mind and body is a multisensory system, and it
Yeah.
sounds like the expressive arts allows that textured kaleidoscopic telling of our
Right.
experiences.
Right. It draws from the whole body. That's why somatic work is often aligned with expressive arts. Yeah.
And I would imagine that over the stages of life as we evolve, we're then drawn to different expressive forms. Like you said, that it may, earlier in your life, you were in the modality of singing, and then you evolved to writing and the moving. Can you talk about that? Because it seems like when we talk about art as process, it is a journey.
Uh-huh. Oh, it is. It is. Luckily, I had the space and the environment where I could go into my room and do art about how I was feeling, or write songs about what was happening in the 60s. You know, Later when I started performing that, and I felt like people heard me, it was very empowering, right? Right. So I went from that, being a really shy young woman actually, to being open to acting and moving and performing in bands. And so I knew that it was transformative for me. And I just really wanted to help other people, find their power too, in whatever modality worked for them. For some people, they start with music, right? It's learning a musical instrument, and then they're marching, and there's movement involved, right? And then maybe they get involved in musical theater, so it is, as long as people, that's why I use the person-centered approach. As long as people move towards those modalities they're drawn to, and they listen to their body, that's when catharsis can happen.
Another thing I've learned from many of the interviewees in this series is that there's the clinician, there's the person that they're a steward to in their pain, and then there's the art form, and that art in itself, whatever form it is, has its own phenomenology, has its own properties, and
Mm.
that's why the training is so important. That the expressive arts
Yeah.
clinician has a relationship to the art form. Can you
Mm.
say something about that?
Oh, yeah, I do. I think to fully understand the journey of our clients and to be a present witness, it's really important for each of us to experience it firsthand, to really understand what happened when they did the movement to the art and wrote down that experience. And then dialogued with another person about that process. You know, I mean, I just did a workshop last weekend, and some very mature, trained expressive arts therapists. One process we went into very deep, there were tears and insight just from the process they did. So yeah, I mean, it's so important, vitally important to experience it firsthand in order to provide that space and safety for our clients.
You said something really important, and this is such a important value for me when I teach, is the key is witnessing and aesthetic noticing and not interpreting. Can you talk about that?
Right. Yeah. I mean, um, yes, that is a very, very important topic because no matter what age I'm working with, children or adults or families, I always tell them beforehand, please, please, please don't rob the strength of your art form by critiquing it or critiquing others or judging it. You know, let's see what it offers to us, because the minute we, oh, that's beautiful, or oh, that's kind of funny, you know, we rob it from the artist, and we also rob, I don't know, the knowledge that's being passed on.
Mhm.
You see what I
And
mean?
I would imagine, just like we look back at photographs, as time and space passes, there's always so much more to discover when we look back at something we've created.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's why I suggest with my clients, you know, that they hang, and my students, that they hang the art on the wall so they can look at it again, or if we recorded their movement, they look at the movement again, because yeah, that growth and information continues. Yeah, yeah.
The founding story of IATA is that it was founded in the 1990s by you and several colleagues to encourage the spirit of creativity. The aim was to support people to use the multimodal arts processing for personal and community growth. Can you take us back to that moment and what was happening in our field and in culture that made you and the founders decide, say, we need an organization like IATA?
Mm. Well, luckily, there were other people in my life at that time that, like myself, I could have become a music therapist, or I could have become an art therapist because I went to art school as well. You know, could have become a drama therapist, but I really wanted to combine them, and others felt the same way. And at the time, in 1993, after another arts conference that many of us attended, we met afterwards, and we wanted to legitimize this field of combining the arts. And there were about 30 people or so at this meeting after the other conference. And we all just, you know, yeah, let's form an organization. Um, so Philip Spicer, Stephen Levine, myself, and Jack Weller, who's no longer with us, unfortunately, a wonderful man, were all asked to take the helm, you know, to carry this forward, create the organization, get the incorporated name, set up the first conference, which happened in San Francisco at Fort Mason in 1994. Um, and we started gathering memberships. You know, people wanted to become a part of this, you know, membership run organization. So it was a very exciting time. It was kind of the birth of expressive arts therapy in the world. And we really wanted, it took us a while, but we decided we wanted it to become an international organization rather than just North American.
Hmm. And I know that there are a few varying traditions within the expressive arts, if I'm correct.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Can you reference that for a moment?
Sure. You mean in terms of different modalities? Right.
No, you said that there's the person-centered approach, there's the Jungian approach, if I'm correct,
Yeah.
and they all fall under the expressive arts
Exactly.
umbrella. Hmm.
Exactly. We didn't want to mandate that, anyone have to be a person-centered expressive arts therapist or Jungian expressive arts therapist or um, phenomenology, expressive arts therapist. So there were lots of approaches, and we wanted to embrace them all. We wanted to embrace them all, just like we wanted to embrace all the different countries and the different cultures and the different contributions over centuries that people have made into this, the field of the arts. Yeah.
I'm looking at your beautiful therapeutic office space with all the textures and artistic mediums, and
Yeah.
my eye is drawn to the painting behind you, which I believe was made by the great Natalie Rogers. Could
Yeah.
you tell us about
Yeah.
that piece?
Yeah. Yeah. I love this piece. And, I think Natalie was one of those people that was clapping on the sideline. She was actually our first shining star, if I remember right,
Mhm.
in Toronto conference. But yeah, I love this, and what it represents is that the roots, and then growing and then blossoming. And I mean, when I see this, and I love this, I'm so glad that, she gave this to me, because to me, it represents the individual, the community, and the world. Like,
Mhm.
how can we help each other grow to become our optimum selves?
Well, I feel that she's here with us right
I
now as we
she is.
reference her, remember her, and also talk about this beautiful work. I did watch that Shining Star Award speech when Natalie was the first recipient.
Uh,
And I remember what I remember specifically about it is her commitment and emphasis to make sure that IATA is an international organization and
mhm,
that all arts have indigenous roots. Do you
mhm.
remember that particular sweet speech and why that was such a commitment at the time?
Yes, it's so, so important. I mean, it was her essence, honestly, Reggie. And I think I really resonated with, her thought and her approach and her vision. And I mean, the whole thing. And I mean, this is a little bit in her book, Creative Connection, too, how it starts with the individual and grows, globally. That it's so important that this organization be international so that we can honor each other's history and antiquity and their contributions. And it's a way to connect on a much deeper level, no matter what language you speak. I can see through your art, through your movement. I understand it, even though it doesn't have words,
Hmm.
and she saw it as a way for global peace. And honestly, I do too. I see that as a possibility. So yeah, it just, yeah, that whole speech, I think it really, especially at the beginning of the organization, I felt like it spoke for who we wanted to become.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
Now, the both of us are meeting for this interview in the Western Hemisphere,
yeah.
and IATA is an international organization, and it describes exploring and fostering the expressive arts and the development of the expressive arts, honoring diverse cultures. How do you see the expressive arts contributing to decolonizing healing practices and uplifting local indigenous forms of creativity?
Yeah, I mean, I do feel, like I said, you said earlier, we have members from 49 different countries. And my hope, and I'm sure it would be Natalie's too, is that in some of these countries where people feel oppressed, or they feel like they don't have a voice or power to deal with what's going on, is that the arts actually provides a way for them to speak out. And I can give you an example. When I went down to Peru in our conference down there, I went to this wonderful workshop where women had done these wall hangings that spoke about the tragedies going on in their country. They couldn't say it out loud, but symbolically,
Mhm.
they could put it in their art form. support each other, to build that, I don't know, circle of support with those who were impacted by what was going on in Peru at the time. And I just thought, wow, so that's one way. That's one way, you know. Or I'm thinking of people who work with refugees, right? Melinda Meyer in Norway, who works with refugees who've left because of war and tragedy in their country. So even if they have to leave their country, there's still a way to help them heal from that trauma,
Mhm.
to build that circle with others going through the same thing. So they're not alone. They don't feel isolated. That's the important thing, that they don't feel isolated. Yeah.
So I know that that commitment to respecting the indigenous roots of art practices, allowing different art cultural practices to be taught by the practitioner from that country in the monthly forums is a really important commitment. And
Yeah.
also that you try to have conferences throughout the world and not only in the Western
Right.
Hemisphere. And I believe your next conference is coming up. Can you say a little bit about that?
Oh, yes. I'm very, very excited about this. So, our next conference in 2027 is scheduled for June in Kenya. So, it is in Nairobi, Kenya, and it's very, very exciting. I mean, yeah, I know that there's a great circle of people that have been involved with IATA for a while, but are also linked to that country and what's going on, working with youth, working with children. So we're going to go and learn from them. Learn how have you used this and really support them, with a little money support as well as listening and learning from them, learning from each other. I think that's the key right there.
Mhm.
Learning from each other and not imposing our views, and history onto another culture or country, because both have a wealth of information and learning.
Yeah, that's so important because so much of arts education is taught in the Western canon, and
Yeah,
there's just
yeah.
so much to learn and so much cultural humility that we need to be able to understand the rich cultural traditions around the world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's so, so important as we say this, I'm looking at this piece. My daughter and her husband traveled all over the world. Um, and every time they go to another country, they send me back another piece, art piece from that country, and talk a little bit about what it represents. And I just feel so lucky to have these little reminders around me everywhere, because yeah, there's wisdom there. There's, yeah, human experience and understanding on a deep, deep level. Yeah.
So you were there in the beginning, 33 years ago when AIDA was formed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And 33 years later, the offerings of AIDA are broad and robust. So I want to go to some of the offerings. You have a global network, you have regional networks. There are two professional certifications, both the Reat, the Registered Expressive Therapist, but also the Registered Expressive Educator. There's monthly forums, there are community gatherings. There are arts practices led by people from the particular culture in different time zones. And so, how has AIDA met your vision or the vision when you first look back 33 years ago?
Well, I feel like it definitely has legitimized this profession. And I think many people seek to become a registered expressive arts therapist or registered expressive arts consultant and educator, because they believe in what many of the founders believed, that this is a way to heal our communities and work with our clients individually, whether it's coaching or counseling. And so that's really, I know there were a lot of people in the beginning who really wanted professional registration again to legitimize what they were doing, right? and to see. And also, our standards are pretty high, I'll be honest with you. But I think, again, it's because we do want to prove, we want to legitimize, we want people to see this is a powerful way to work. So now people are using it in hospitals and prisons and people's, who've been damaged from sex trafficking and, dealing with war and just all the different ways.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So I feel good about how it's grown, and how it's been held and then offered in unique ways depending on the country or community that's presenting it. Yeah.
So, Anin, now I'd like to take a moment and offer the audience an expressive arts experiential. This is something we've done in every interview, and you were generous enough to construct a poem for our audience. And what I'd like to do is take a moment and bear witness together to this poem, a reflective poem about the IEATA community and your vision and hope for the community. And then what we'll do is, after the poem is recited, we'll then debrief on it together. Would that be okay?
Yep. Sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you, Reggie. A Global Invitation by Anin Utigaard. With the echoes of drum beats in the background, an imagined circle of which we are all part of emerged, and the birth of a community was announced. With the roars of excitement and joy, the community sang, painted, and danced on its sacred day of arrival. Its song spread across the globe, beckoning others who understood its mission and invitation. The call to connect, to support, to heal, and to transform, not with knives and scalpels, but with music and drama and movement and art. Separate from government or borders, the call was heard worldwide and its message spread. The circle grew and grew some more. People stepped up to be the voice for their community. People stepped up to join the growing circle. And as the circle grew, more gathered, recognizing the truth and value of this mission. A mission to create a more peaceful world. This community offered a way to understand each other, hear each other, and support one another using a common language we all connect to, the arts, the oldest form of language that exists. With our creative hearts and minds, we will continue to connect with other cultures and communities surrounding the globe with kindness, compassion, and caring for all. And in doing so, we hope to build a more peaceful world. This is our mission. This is our guiding light.
Thank you, Anin. Thank you so much for that beautiful offering. So I want to offer an aesthetic noticing. Is that okay?
Sure, sure, sure.
As I listened to that poem, what came to my mind was the footage that we started this interview with of all the conferences around the world where IETA members are singing, dancing, gathering, and expressing themselves. And what's striking to me at about all that footage is that for me, it captures the freedom
Hmm.
that people are experiencing in the expressive arts, and and in this poem, for me, is the story of that collective freedom. Could you say something about what your journey of constructing this poem, what was going through your mind, and hearing it again together today?
Thank you. Yeah. The poem came fairly quickly in one setting. But first in my mind, I kind of reviewed the beginning and where we're at and what in and watching it grow. And I just, I wanted to try to represent those who are involved with IATA and their intention, their vision, why they're passionate about this work. So it was a big responsibility. It felt like that. Anyway, I wanted to be fair in my representation. Um, but what came to mind at one point was at the first conference. I remember, the people, everyone there at the conference. There was probably around 200 people. Dancing together, uninhibited, singing, to the music, and people there creating the music. So people were creating the music, people were moving to the music, some people were doing art. And what if it reminded me of a child who's a little less inhibited, who feels free to express themselves because they're not worried about judgment or critique, but free to be who they are. And I would love that for everyone in the world to feel that, like, I'm exactly who I need to be, and I'm going to celebrate who I am. Do you see what I mean?
Mhm.
And I actually, our social action group, I think they're working on that with children, helping them really embrace who they are, whatever, wherever they're from, yeah, it's just it's such an important healing, So when this poem, I just felt like, again, I was trying to capture that passion, that love of you and I and many others, what we feel when we think about the arts and how powerful it can be.
Well, thank you. It was a beautiful offering.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
So, Anin, when we move forward at this, when in thinking about meeting with you today, I was conceptualizing it as a moment to simply reflect on
Mm,
an incredible triumph. And
mm,
it's such a gift to have you here to bear witness to that.
yeah,
So when you think of Aida's future and the vision and the next generation and passing the torch, um, we are living in a very difficult time of global crises, social violence, displacement. What do you see the role is of the expressive arts in helping communities around the world meaningfully respond to this moment in time?
yeah. Thank you, Reggie. That's a good question. Yeah, it hurts to see everything going on in the world, but when you think about, the hatred, the racism, the anger, the lack of understanding. And then you think about expressive arts as a way to release anger. It's a way to move anger and transform anger or hate. Um, it's a way for us to open up and understand each other, even from very different backgrounds and cultures and beliefs, through the arts, to understand one another. Um, for communication, global communication, the arts, right? So I do see that addressing some of the issues. And I will say, I have a number of clients that are a younger generation, and they give me so much hope, Reggie. And hopefully, some of them will, as we bring younger people into this organization, their focus on the environment and ecology is very clear. And I love that. I love that. It's so important. And also for communication, right? They see that. They see those two and how important that is if we're going to survive, right? And I saw an interesting Japanese piece yesterday and where they were talking about in Japan. I'm not sure, I can't remember which religion talked about this, but they believe that there is God in everything.
Mhm.
And the God energy is in every animal, every tree, every person. And if we treat them with that same kind of respect that we do a higher energy,
Mhm.
what a different world we would have. And expressive arts, I feel like, helps us tap into that understanding.
Hmm.
Does that
What
make
I'm hearing
sense?
you saying is the expressive arts is a unifying tool. It's a tool for empathy. It's a tool for bridge building. It's a
Yes,
tool that facilitates human connection, curiosity,
exactly.
and how vital it is in these complex and fragile times.
Exactly, exactly. I think it's the one recipe that could make a big difference.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, what would be your call to action to anyone? Because I know that IATA is an organization that's open to anyone, to artists, to educators, to therapists.
Hmm.
What is your invitation in passing the torch?
Yeah, to get involved, check out a workshop on expressive art so you get to experience it firsthand and have a firsthand understanding about what it is. Look at our website, our educational, resources committee and what they have on there in terms of things you can check out. Um, yeah, just reach out just so that you can experience it. Yeah, and we have just contributing members. It's like $45 for, or maybe less if you're in another country. $45 just to be a supportive member. We have three branches of this organization: professional therapists, professional educators, and artists. We have an artist branch because we know the arts is the foundation of what we're doing. So we wanted to honor that. Just doing arts, if you think about it, art in whatever form has always been, you know, helped us evolve,
Hmm.
always has helped us see things from a new light.
Hmm.
Just look at Picasso's old mural about war. And I could go on and on, but just look at any art that's kind of, aha, woken us up.
Hmm.
So the arts are important, but also having a place to express yourself freely, whether it's in the classroom or a therapy office. Yeah, yeah, really important.
I mean, it's an incredible triumph to have seen the beginning of a vision and see it through for 33 years. If you were to project to the next 33 years, what would be your vision?
Oh, wow. Oh, I mean, I'm so excited now. I think I told you at one point that this is the thing I'm most proud of in my lifetime. Uh, and I owe Natalie a lot of credit for that too. But so I feel like I do this work, through her in some way or vice versa. But it would be wonderful to see, just like every village has their own little doctor,
Hmm.
that every village has their own expressive arts therapist
Hmm.
or expressive artists. They don't even have to be a therapist, but an expressive artist, to be there to help, communities heal, to help individuals heal, knowing that just like medicine, regular ancient medicine, uh, it can also be a tool for change and transformation. I would love to see that happen and grow and continue to grow. And also really involved in the environmental concerns going on too, which it is. I'm seeing more and more. Um, yeah, actually, I'm part of a group that's doing combining expressive arts and environment. You
Hmm.
know, and um, and they have a book coming out, and it's wonderful to see that happen, combining them.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So I would like to see that happen and so much more, but we would need another hour to talk about it, so I won't go there.
So, Anin, as we conclude our time together, what are the arts practices you go to nourish yourself,
Uh,
to resource yourself, to protect your endurance? Because that's also really important in doing this work. To be a
mhm.
practitioner, educator, therapist, that's really grounded in possibility and hope. Can you
Right.
talk a little bit about how you've cultivated that within yourself?
Oh, absolutely. So do you see my guitar there?
Yeah.
So I pick up my guitar whenever I can. I'm part of a songwriters soiree group in Portland, Oregon. I try to go and sing with others, and I'm involved with that. I write a lot. I love writing. Um, uh, I've been working with a group that doing haiku, and that's been really inspiring. Um, yeah, so I think those are the ways, that I continue this process, using the arts. And, they've come out with new material recently, research showing that the arts for longevity are as important as physical exercise.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've seen that research
Yes.
come
Hmm.
out,
Yes. Hmm.
but well, there you have it.
Hmm.
Go watch theater, go to an art museum, learn to play a ukulele. It's good for the brain too.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, join a song circle.
Hmm.
All those things are really important for us as practitioners as well as individuals.
Hmm.
And I go to workshops once in a while. I think it's important to continue my own personal growth, not just provide it for others.
Hmm.
So it's kind of a long answer, but there
Hmm.
you have it.
Thank you. I know you've answered the final question in a few different ways, but what is the legacy of IATA?
I think the legacy is that when you believe in something, uh, try to make it happen. Give it birth. Join others of like mind and like heart, and work together to see it grow. Because if you believe in something, it can happen. It can grow. It can become more than you could ever imagine, if you stay true to that original vision and the purpose. Yeah.
Well, Anina, I want to say something about your legacy. You
Okay.
are a torchbearer, and you've done it with such integrity and integrity and strength and perseverance. And I'm tearing up because that's quite a feat.
Um, Thank
So I
you.
thank you for your life's work. I thank you for being a humble steward of
Thank
this mission.
thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Especially someone who's also doing the same.
Hmm.
That's all the work you're doing. And
Yes.
but thank you for those words. And I will remember them and hold them forever. Thank you so much.
Well, Anine, if anyone in the audience wants to join us, they can simply go to the website and learn more. We're also going to link to many resources under this um, uh, interview that any new member can learn more about our work.
Mm.
I thank you for your life's work, and I wish you a limitless palette of nourishment, joy, and hope in your travels. Thank you so much, Anine.
Thank you, Reggie. I really appreciate this time and all that you're doing, and just honored to be here. Thank you so much. If I could write a song that would bring the world together, then I would write that song, and you would sing along, and the whole world would sing along together. And there would be no war or hate. All the world would join hands and celebrate. Can't you see we've no time to hesitate. We have got to bring the world together. So if I could write a song that would bring the world together, then would sing the song, you would sing along, and the whole world would sing along together, and there would be no war or hate. All the world would join hands and celebrate. Can't you see we've no time to hesitate? We've got to bring this world together. 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 We've got to bring this world together.
Possible together.
We've got to bring this world
Possible together. Sing a song together. Sing a song together. Sing a song together. Sing a song together.
Peace is possible, possible together. Peace is possible, possible together. Peace is possible, possible together. Peace is possible, possible together. Peace is possible, possible together. Peace is possible, possible together.